Thank you, Sandhya. Good afternoon. My understanding of what an incubator does is that it provides an environment that exponentially changes the probability for success of any venture. So in the United States, they did a study to find out whether this was actually true. And they looked at a period of time and at about 30,000 companies that had been incubated. And they found that the success rate was 87% for these companies. Same period, companies that had started about the same time but not gone through incubation, their success rate was between 40 and 44%. So incubators actually provide an incredible value proposition for entrepreneurs to succeed. We see in India broadly two types of incubators. One that are started or are part of an academic institution, and one that is now standalone in IT parks maybe. For example, we've seen many IIT Madras and the IIT Research Park, Vellore Institute. We have at the Anna University, the KBC Center that is there. All the IITs have this. Lots of them that start with academic support. There's one great example that is not with an academic institution, and that is the Technopark in Trivandrum. The Technopark in Trivandrum has, I think, incubated more than 70 companies very successfully. What is it that an incubator is expected to provide for this success? Broadly, both hard infrastructure and soft infrastructure. Hard is easy for many of you. You have the institutions, but actually the expectation is high-speed internet, plug and play, all of that, which is today with the IT industry having set the standards, it's becoming easier and easier to help provide hard infrastructure. The soft infrastructure is where sometimes there's a bit of a challenge. What is that expectation? It starts even with how to set up a company. What are some of the things I need to do to protect my idea? IIT Research Park, for example, helps in patents. How do I file for a patent? How do I protect my intellectual property, my trademark? All of that. My idea needs to be protected. How do I know to read a balance sheet? How do I prepare a business plan? How do I make a pitch? All of this is soft skills that need to be provided, soft infrastructure that is there, and we seem to be doing a reasonable good job there. One area that is missing, and I think is something that as academicians you may want to pay some attention to, is that in order to get into an IIT or into the colleges, including the IIMs, there is a very well-defined rigorous process. There is a CAT exam. There used to be a JEE, a little confused whether it's still there, but there used to be a JEE until this year that brought students in a very rigorous process to select and be prepared to get into IIT, AIEEE, whatever it is. What is the process by which we prepare students to get into an incubation center? They are at the academic institution for 3 years, 4 years, maybe 2 years in an MBA school. What is it that we are doing, a rigorous process by which we help prepare? I know there is an innovation center that is there at IIT Madras that has a multidisciplinary way of teaching students entrepreneurship development, different ideas. But do we have that process? And that's missing. And I thought I'll share with you an example that's happening in the world about how they're doing this very uniquely. There is an organization called Unreasonable Institute. I don't know if you have heard of it. Unreasonable Institute identifies each year 25 companies that, in their opinion, can impact 1 million lives each. So they incubate 25 companies around the world, in Colorado, in the US, for 6 weeks. What they do is, out of all the applications that come, they shortlist what they call the finalists, 47 companies. Then they want to know if these people have the ability to raise money. So it costs $10,000 for that 6-week program. It is free for these students or for these entrepreneurs. They have to pay only the airfare. But they have to raise this $10,000, and the first 25 that raises this $10,000 gets admitted out of this 47. So they say that of these 47, they want to avoid what they call the rich uncle factor. So you can't go to a rich uncle and say, give me a check for $10,000. That's not allowed. So the first week, the maximum amount of money that you can collect per person is $10, maximum. The next week it's $50, and the week after it's $100. So you have to make a pitch to convince people to give you money to go for this entrepreneurship development program, because you're convincing people that you're actually funding an idea that can impact million lives. So those 25 are then taken to Colorado, and they are taught a few things in this 5 weeks. First of all, these 25 people get to meet and work with 50 mentors. Mentors are people like the head of Google's investment, or the CTO of HP, who has himself been an entrepreneur and has created agro products that have impacted 19 million lives. So 50 such mentors these people work with, and 20 capital partners, people who have been in VC world, seed capital, angels. So that's the other group. And they work there. In the first 5 weeks, they are taught, first of all, an ability to communicate clearly and compellingly. So the first thing is communication. And part of that communication is to be able to talk to audiences, very large audiences, to communicate their idea. And then, can they do the same thing one-on-one to be able to communicate this idea? And then, how do I manage to hold a conversation with somebody I have never met and I don't normally know how to do? So can I carry on a conversation? These are some of the success factors to make these people get to scale of 1 million families to be impacted. They want to make sure that when you communicate, anyone, anywhere can understand what you do and what help you want. The second thing that they are taught is an executable 3-year timeline for reaching this goal of 1 million families. To impact 1 million people, you have 3 years. And that's the plan that you will actually define at that time. Then, when you pitch to VCs, do you have a defendable and scalable business model? That's the third idea. Then relationships that you will develop with these partners, with these mentors, by which at the end of it, at the end of 5 weeks, end of 6 weeks, you have convinced some of them to be your board members. At least 2 people who will join your board and who will be your advisory board members, mentors, but at least 2 people. How will you assemble a team? And so from the network, can you convince people to come to India, to come to Africa, to work anywhere with you? World-class people who complement your skills, who can take you there. And that is what you're taught, how to attract and retain world-class talent. Where to look, how to hire, how to fire. All of that is what you're taught. How do I build a world-class culture where people will strive together, not incentive-driven, but initiative-driven? So it comes from within that you're working for a mission and that you want to change the lives of 1 million people. You want to impact the lives of 1 million people. And that's the kind of culture. And then finally, a simple mechanism to assess you over each quarter, each month, every day, whether you're really in that direction, whether you're really impacting the lives. Is your business model really working, not working? Should I correct, not correct? That's the first 5 weeks. In the last week, what you're taught is an opportunity to pitch to hundreds of people. So they gather in a room with 1,000 plus people, and you're given an opportunity to pitch. There will be 100 potential funders in that crowd. You have to pitch and raise the money for your idea. And that's what you're taught in these 6 weeks. A fantastic, rigorous program that helps 25 people succeed. I thought I was given 15 minutes, only 5 minutes. So that's really the idea. What we are missing today in some of our incubating centers is a rigorous program. I'm not saying something as exciting necessarily as the Unreasonable Institute, but I think we need to spend some time in looking at the success factors that will bring a funnel of entrepreneurs into these incubating centers. When you go into the US and other developed markets, children there work in retail stores, in McDonald's counters, Pizza Hut, Domino's, from lemonade stand outside their door. They're used to knowing some commercial transactions, used to dealing with potential customers who tell them this is useless. What are you? How do I deal with a disgruntled customer? They learn that. Our people, we pamper. No, don't go work there. I will look after you. You need pocket money, we'll take care. So the commercial experience, all of that is missing, and then suddenly you expect them to become successful entrepreneurs and venture capitals to put down tons of money. That's not going to work easily. I work with Sequoia Capital. I work with very young entrepreneurs. One of the challenges we face is not a shortage of ideas, not a shortage of entrepreneurs, but quality of entrepreneurship. A lot of time is being spent in helping them succeed, in training them on something that is very simple and what we think is basic. It's changing a lot, but that's the help that you as academic institutions could do so that we have a fantastic pipeline, and incubators can then make these entrepreneurs exponentially successful. I will interact during the question and answer session. Thank you very much.